All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bunker Labs All In series. So hashtag All In. Today we are with Mike Steadman, and the whole point here is to help elevate and highlight entrepreneurs like yourselves that are currently in the fight, to hear from those who have been through crisis in the past, and then to provide real resources. So I'm super excited to be on the call today with Mike. So if you would, if you go ahead and give us an introduction, tell us who you are, and tell us about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. What's going on, everyone? My name is Mike Steadman, and I'm the founder of Ironbound Boxing. I'm also a Marine Corps veteran, an entrepreneur, podcast host, and just kind of figuring all this stuff out while I built my brand. Specifically for Ironbound Boxing, we focus on running on-site boxing classes for companies and organizations, and we use proceeds from those services to fund free inner-city boxing programs for youth and young adults, specifically here in Newark, New Jersey. We founded the Ironbound Boxing Academy, which is our free boxing gym. And our intent is to build out the Ironbound Boxing brand and use our business model as a way to support youth and young adults in inner cities all across the country. So we're a social enterprise through and through, a hybrid business model. And in the midst of all the chaos and changing that's going on, we've switched and started to offer online digital workouts for a lot of our clients as well. So we're constantly adapting and evolving to the ever-changing business environment, but in our core, we're always looking at supporting inner city kids through boxing training.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like any good Marine, adjust, adapt, and overcome. But I think what's really cool about what you're doing is the mission-driven part of this, right? Like it's like you are making a difference every day in kids' lives. You could have gone out of the Naval Academy and Marine Corps and gone and gone and done any number of things, but you're diving into your passion and doing it, and I think that's pretty cool, and it shows with the following. I think you're a little maybe a lightweight on the example of how much of a media mogul you're becoming. So I think we'll all see maybe your own Ironbound channel or network someday. So talk to us a little bit about what are you going to keep doing? So what's steady state? How are you going to keep moving forward?
Yeah, so for us, especially in the midst, just to be quite frank, all of us are suffering from this COVID-19 pandemic, which has essentially shut the economy down. I was part of the first wave that really got hit because we run on-site boxing classes for companies. So companies like Spotify and NextJump and some other firms, Etsy, would bring us on site to run these boxing classes. But once they transition to a remote workforce, temporarily what we provide is no longer needed, right? And so that's just the reality of the situation that we found ourselves in. And so literally overnight, I saw like 90% of my revenue drop once the NBA canceled their season and the NCAA and all this other stuff. So what helped me stay focused was going back to that social piece and that social mission. And I looked at it as a sense of, okay, we have schools that are out right now. You've got over 400,000+ kids in the New York City metro area that are out of school. No one's really thinking about physical fitness for them, activities for them. And so I pulled us back into our core and was like, hey, let's focus on this, right? What can we do right now to help solve that need? And jumped online and started running free online digital workouts on our social media channels. And mainly it was just a touch point to have with our kids because, our boxing academy got closed down also. So we lost that face-to-face interaction with those that we serve. And so at least going on and running these online workouts was a way to keep a consistent touch point. And what that has piggybacked off into is, started getting reps in with that. And then clients start to come on board, reach out to us and say, hey, are you able to run online workouts for our remote teams? And because we've already gotten the free workouts up and running, we've got the reps in, it was like flawless execution in terms of executing that. So needless to say, we're making a shift into the digital space. Where I'm based at in the New York City metro area, I think we're going to be in this thing for quite some time. And so we have to adapt to that and to fulfill that need. So we're really just executing, for all my Marines out there, a full frontal assault on the digital media space in terms of newsletters, consistent content, live workouts, recording our workouts, and making a strong boxing presence in the digital space.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about that is what you said of like, we just went back to our core. So it's like mission first, people always, right? And that's something that this COVID thing is giving us the opportunity to do, to like zoom out, really focus in on what do you really care about? Where do you want to move the needle and what's important? And then you quickly, adapted to be able to do that. So what do you stop doing? What's no longer like, what were distractions? What were things that were maybe, keeping you up at night, but now you're like, I don't even have time to worry about it. I'm going to stop messing around with fill in the blank.
So I actually have an interesting story to answer your question.
All right.
Because a lot of the stuff that was distracting me early on, I'm actually able to benefit from now. So I started a podcast called Confessions of a Native Son. I have a business coach. He told me not to do it. He told me to focus on sales and revenue and to not get distracted with all this digital content. But I went ahead and purchased this equipment over the last 6 months, ramping up. So I have this whole digital studio pretty much that my intent was to use it to promote the Ironbound boxing brand, to promote our social endeavors. That way we do a lot of content, consistent content. And I want to have this media stuff, this branding equipment that I was able to capitalize on. So early on, that was a distraction. So everyone kept telling me, hey, stop, focus on revenue, focus on sales, stop branding, like all that kind of stuff. And then fast forward to the situation we find ourselves in as an organization. There's no one else more set up to capitalize off the digital space in just a short amount of time.
What's the name of the podcast?
Confessions of a Native Son.
And where can we go and find it?
We're up on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, every podcast hosting platform.
Okay, that's awesome.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so if you would have asked me 2 months ago, I probably should have been like, I should have stopped podcasting. But now they're all like, yo, this is great. Keep it up.
That's good. And it sounds like it's driving business to the digital side. So on that, what are you going to start doing?
I think, so what we're doing right now is we got to get our workouts recorded, So I mentioned before that I have a lot of media equipment. What I didn't have was the technology to stream live from some of the higher quality cameras that I have in my apartment. And so I went ahead and ordered that equipment because we've been running the free workouts on our social, our digital, just Instagram, and I do them on Facebook because I'm always more cognizant of where's the community at, the people that can't afford to pay for online training. Now, me and you are both very active on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a very professional network, but to just be quite frank, the demographic I serve, particularly young men and women of color in the inner city, they're not up on that platform. So I need to find out where they are and deliver value to them. So we're testing a bunch of different things. We know Instagram is where our kids are because that's where a lot of youth and young adults hang out. They don't have laptops. They do have cell phones. And so touch points with them on that. And I'm still trying to reach that adult audience. So we're making a little bit of a pivot, and we're just an MVP, right? There's nothing sexy about what we're doing, but we're going to be building an online database of workouts, free, available to the public. And on our social media channel, we'll be running pretty much 7 days of wellness. So every day on our social media channels, on our live accounts, we'll be running free 30-minute workouts for the community. And people come back and they reference these workouts. My vision is that we'll probably have 5 days of boxing, and then the other 2 days might mix up between some yoga or some meditation or something to really focus on helping the community stay mentally and physically strong during these challenging times.
That's great, man. So, all right. And so on the keep side, it's all about the core, focus on the mission, let's shut everything out and stop. It was sort of like, hey, this was a distraction 2 months ago, but now this is super relevant. So ramping it up and start. It's, sounds like, providing, real resources to your community and focusing on your community. And then, dialing in the tech so that the tech's ready to roll so that you can record things and start driving more revenue through these, through the paid workouts. Is that right?
And I guess stop second guessing yourself. No one's going to know your business model, and no one's going to know the vision you have for your brand, your business, whatever it is that you're doing, than you. And so you have one or two options, right? You can keep trying to prove people, you can actually keep asking their permission, trying to prove it to them, or you can just go out and execute it and do it and let them come on board a little bit later. Because there's a lot of stuff I was doing now that didn't make a lot of sense to other people, but I had a vision for it. And now, again, I had to meet with my board members yesterday, and they were coming to me for advice because I was so far out ahead on the digital space. Now we just got to tweak it and maximize a little bit more because they've never launched a podcast. They've never really snap these newsletters to this extent or run workouts or build an online digital database before. And so with me jumping out in front of this thing, we feel like we're a lot better positioned than a lot of similar organizations doing what we're doing.
Well, right. I mean, it all comes down to execution, and you're doing that well. So we can find the Confessions of a Native Son podcast on iTunes or anywhere you can find your podcast or anywhere you listen to those. But so let's do the last word. How can this community help you? How can they spread the word? How can folks join workouts? How can they get involved with Ironbound Boxing?
I think the biggest point is I kind of live in a little bit of a bubble right now, especially with the quarantine and stuff that's going on here in Newark. So I'm always trying to get a pulse of what the community is feeling right now. So like guys like us, we're Marines, we're adapted. This is very much a wartime situation for us. So our brain goes into a different mode, and I made some moves early on financially that I'm able to benefit from now as the economy kind of shuts down, and I'm still able to bring on clients through digital boxing workouts. But I need to know, how is the community feeling out there, right? We have a lot of kids in the inner city that don't have access to laptops. They don't have access to computers. They don't even have internet. And so the school districts have given them packets to take home. But other than that, like, what else do they have? And so what we're going to be doing on our end, we're innovating. We're figuring this out right now, just like a lot of people. But I want to get content, whether it's a PDF that can be distributed at food checkpoint areas where kids go up and pick up food. But we need to serve this demographic. And so I look at a lot of you out there as Overwatch, right? So you understand Ironbound Boxing mission, you know what we're doing, and I just need you to have Overwatch for us. So when I start sharing this content, these little workout PDFs or these free videos, just send it out to people, right? Like, even if you don't want to take advantage of yourself, right? I don't care if it's just one person, but at the end of the day, our thing is that we're thinking about these situations and we're actively trying to solve them. We might not have the right answer, but at least we're doing something. We're just not twiddling our thumbs. And so that's the message I want people to know. And the way we're going to be able to accomplish that is by people spreading the word and spreading the message. That's
great. Well, Mike, thanks for making time to share your story here on the Bunker Labs All In interview series. I think you're a testament of like what this country needs in terms of leaders, and what you're doing is impressive, and I think it's going to continue to grow. You can go to where's the best place for people to find Ironbound Boxing?
You can follow us on Instagram. We're very active on Instagram, and for probably the majority of this network, I would say follow me on LinkedIn. Just Mike Steadman on LinkedIn. We got an Ironbound Boxing page there. I love helping veterans. I was where many of you were, 2.5 years ago, and it's crazy to see how far I've gone in that short amount of time. So I'm a resource. Use me, reach out to me. If there's anything I can do to help, I'd be happy to do so.
All right, brother. Thanks for sharing your story. You guys heard it. Mike Steadman, U.S. Marine, Ironbound Boxing. You can find him on Instagram and LinkedIn, or go to Confessions of a Native Son to hear his podcast. So with that, thanks very much. And we're all in. We'll see you soon, brother.
Peace. Thanks.
Take care.